Beyond the Fairway podcast presented by Genesis back again, Will. And wow. Before we even get into it, just wow. On tap in today's episode, we got Charlie Sifford coming in here. Charlie Sifford Jr. It's on the heels. Yeah, we're getting ready, Will, for the Travelers Championship, where was Sifford's first win back in 1967. But we're going to talk about all of that. But before we get to it, Will, you called C.T. Pan as a bronze medalist.
I did. That's
a fact. Can't take it back from you. But on the other side of the pond, I correctly called Matthew Fitzpatrick getting the job done at Brookline at this year's U.S. Open, man. What in the world?
You did call him, but here's my question. Which one's more impressive? C.T. Pan winning the bronze, or are you calling Fitzpatrick, former U.S. AM champion at the same venue, to win this year's Open? Which one's more impressive?
Matthew Fitzpatrick, by far.
You crazy. You out your mind. C.T. Pan is way more impressive. I called him not to only finish as a medalist. I told you that he was going to finish third as a bronze medalist. Nobody's doing that. That's some 1 out of a million type stuff.
You done, or is you finished?
I rest my case.
I just want to know why the hell Matt Kuchar is looking at me from over your shoulder. Like, where the hell are you? There's a big picture of Matt Kuchar just over your left shoulder.
I'm at the legendary Cog Hill here in Chicago. We are on site of the very first tournament of Steph Curry's underrated tour. And Cog Hill is the first tournament kickoff of this season. So I have Matt Kuchar, former United States Amateur champion back in 1997, Georgia Tech great, right behind me looking at us, making sure we did this podcast.
Yeah, that's right. I just want to know how the hell you at Cog Hill with a Sage Valley. You just like flexing on everybody right now. I got the Sage Valley.
And this Sage Valley is a great topic of conversation, a great conversation starter. Hey, but what was your reaction to the U.S. Open? That's what I want to know.
I think Rich Lerner said it best in the wrap-up. He said, in the last quarter century, this might be the best U.S. Open we've seen and played and documented. I'll be honest, Will, like as a fan and an analyst, whatever you want to call me nowadays, that U.S. Open was a heavyweight fight. You had everything you wanted. You had long shots. You had world number 2 in the mix. You had a lot of guys, Will, that could have taken this championship. And, a lot of players, here comes a beep, a lot of players bitch and moan, Will, about the U.S. Open. We saw it at Shinnecock and some of the whole locations, etc. Nobody complained this year, and how could you? It's one of the best courses in the country.
But you think about it, man, it was set up to be a heavyweight fight in the end, because this was, I want to say, it was the top world number 1, 2, and 3 were on the first page of the leaderboard going to the final round.
Very true.
Do you know how special that is? But
yeah,
I know you picked Fitzpatrick, but I am so sad for my boy Will Zalatoris. I am so sad again. I mean, you got to think, this will probably be he would probably have completed the third leg.
No, he did complete. I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, he did complete it.
Well, what I'm saying, if he would have won every leg, if he would have won every major that he's passed, so let's say if he would have won the 2021 Masters, where he finished tied for 8th, he finished, if he would have won the 2022 PGA Championship, where he played against Justin Thomas, I mean, he would probably be on his damn second, third leg of this whole major championship,
yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think he's vying for my runner-up pick for the Open Championship. I'll go ahead and say that. Will Zalatoris to finish second at the Open Championship. But, Will, when you see a guy like that, what's that do to your mentality? Like, you right there, but you can't get over the hurdle. Does it give you confidence? Does it get you?
It has to be nothing but a confidence booster, even more. I mean, because he's still doing all the right things. I mean, I want to say he led the field in strokes gained putting for the first 3 rounds. He still had the lowest, he shot 67 on Saturday, which was the lowest round of the day yesterday. The guy is doing everything right, Doug. It's only a matter of time. And I believe once he cracked that nut.
You said yesterday, boy. That was last week. We on to the Travelers Championship. We kind of off that already, right? No, all right, whatever.
I can't get away with that one.
Y'all don't know when we record this damn thing. We record it whenever we get to it. This was recorded the day of the U.S. Open finishing. So when y'all hear this, that's what's happening. But no, I mean, fantastic week in golf, and another one that we're queued up for. Let's be clear. Charlie Sifford won the Travelers Championship at Wethersfield Country Club. Then it wasn't called the Travelers then, but we're gonna bring Charlie Sifford Jr. in to talk about. I did say Wethersfield.
Is Wethersfield?
What did I say? Wethersfield.
Yeah,
Wethersfield. It's an accent thing. What's the?
You got a fat lip.
Now I got
you can't say it.
That's fine. Wethersfield is where it used to be, but we ain't there no more. All right, we go. I can't even do it.
Well, let's go. So hey, we're gonna get to Charlie Sifford Jr. and this great interview, great conversation.
Beyond the Fairway podcast, presented by Genesis, welcomes in a very special guest today, Mr. Charlie Sifford Jr. Mr. Sifford, so good to see you, sir. How's things up in Cleveland?
Real nice. We're having a little heat spell right now. It's been in the 90s the last couple of days, but we're doing great here.
It's just crazy when you think about Cleveland. I'm just always thinking about snow and bad football.
Yeah, hopefully we can eliminate the bad football or the snow. I don't think we can do anything about that.
See, I don't know how you keep a smile on your face living in Cleveland, because it's like the grayest place I've ever been. It's like gray all winter, and the sun comes out and everybody's like this. The sun.
Yeah. It's a shock to your system when it shows up, but we enjoy it. We appreciate it that much more because we don't see a lot of
it. I get that. Mr. Sifford, I don't even know where to start. Your dad's life and legacy is so impactful. Every facet of Black golf has been touched by your father's contributions. But, as a son having a front row seat, you were in your 20s, when he won the LA Open. What do you recall when you just stop and look back over the years? What do you recall most about the state of golf as it relates to Black and brown relations?
I can see it's a improvement as far as the number of people actually playing the game right now. I think it could be better, but it's cost inhibited to a large segment of the population. But it's definitely growing. Back when my dad was playing, there were, a lot of good players, but they just weren't able to get the exposure that they needed to let other people know that they were around, and by being limited by the number of golf tournaments they can play in, a lot of people really didn't know Black people play golf outside the Black community. So, it was hard, difficult, but they managed, and we developed some great players that unfortunately never got the chance to be seen by other people.
Ms. Sifford, when you think about the early days when your father was, really being on the forefront of African-American golf, I want to know your perspective, during the days when you were young and as a kid, did you know how popular your father was? Did you know exactly what he was going through at that time?
No, I didn't. Most of the early part of his career, my mom and I lived in Philadelphia, and he was on the road and, basically out of California. So we didn't really see him a lot. And there wasn't any press coverage of golf at that particular time compared to what it is now. So basically all I knew was he was away from home, working and playing golf. And I really didn't know what golf was. It wasn't a popular sport in our community at the time. So basically I just knew he was out on the road, making a living, trying to support his family. When he was home, it was like a normal life, normal father, son, and mother relationship. We ate, went out to dinner and stuff like that, did go to the movies. And some of the hardships that he faced, he pretty much trying to keep them away from us because he didn't want us to be worried about what was going on out there. He wanted us to be comfortable with the fact that he was trying to succeed at what he was doing.
Did you actually, sorry, I have to, when I read the stories of what your father actually had to endure, one, I don't think I could do it, right? I'm not tough enough to go through some things. I mean, he had to lie to law enforcement to let them know that he wasn't the driver or the owner of the car. He had to make sure his white counterparts either drove down the street with him because people wouldn't believe that car was his in the first place at that time. He had human feces in the cups at the golf course in PGA Tour events when he got welcomed there at Hartford back in '67. Did those stories, did he ever talk to you about those things that he had to endure, or did he just really keep a shield over you?
He pretty much kept a shield over it. I learned about a lot of it once he wrote the book. When he wrote the book, he put a lot of all that in there. Like I said, he tried to shield us from it. My first exposure to the racism thing was when we moved from Philadelphia to California, and we drove Route 66 going through the South, where we had to, he would send my mother and I into the restaurant just to see if they would serve us. And most of the time we did stop, we had to stop, we stopped during the daytime. He felt it was more safer for all of us, stopping at different places down in that area during the daylight rather than trying to do things at nighttime. So he pretty much kept us sheltered. Once we got to California, it got a little bit more publicity in the news wise. I started learning more about what was really going on out there. And he kind of, as I got older, he talked a little bit more freely about what was going on. But for the most part, he tried to keep us sheltered from it.
When you speak on keeping sheltered, like what Doug just mentioned, I'm not built for that. There's no way I'm built for that. And, I'm curious to as a son, as a junior, firstborn, did you feel like when there was a burden on your father, like he just came off the road and you could tell it was tough?
Yes. He had time, he didn't say much, but you can tell by his facial expression that, things were bothering me.
It was a tough trip.
And he just happened to be, I guess what you say, the right person in the right place at the right time. Like you said, there's not too many people that could have did what he did and still be able to play competitively as good as he did. But as I got, I could see, there was some stress on him when he first come back in, especially if he played bad. He wasn't as as friendly, as he normally was when he had a good week or a couple good weeks, prior to him coming home. But there was a difference. It was subtle, but you can tell there was a difference in his attitude.
And when you talk about attitudes, I heard that he got words of wisdom from one of the great baseball players of all time, and that was some of his inspiration. Can you please kind of talk about that?
Yes, he was while he was on the circuit, on entertainment circuit with Billy Eckstine traveling around. He met a lot of different people in the entertainment, sports and entertainment world, and he met Jackie, and Jackie took a liking to him, and they got to talking about. Dad told him that he was thinking about trying to break onto the PGA Tour, and that if he did, he'd probably be, he'd be the first one to do it. And Jackie said, "Well, I understand. You got to understand you're gonna run into some problems." And Jackie asked him, "Was he a quitter?" And my father said, "No." And Jackie told him that he was glad to hear that, because he said there's going to be times where you're going to want to quit and try something else, because it's not going to be easy being the first. You're just going to have to man up, take things that you normally wouldn't take as far as somebody talking to you. You couldn't respond in an inappropriate way, otherwise it would make it harder for you and then anybody else that came along behind you. So they had a long talk. They talked over a period of time, and my father was convinced that he could do it, and fortunately he was able to break through. He kept his composure when he had to. He played good golf. He won some tournaments, won some money, and he made a lot of friends out there that supported what he was doing after that. Because a lot of them saw what he was going through, and a lot of the white players, supported him out there.
Well, you talked a bit about it earlier. His book, Just Let Me Play. And I'm really surprised to hear, like, you learned a lot about your father by reading the book. But, I heard recently that book has gone in to be reprinted and added photos, et cetera. How important is that reprint or that book coming back to life, I guess you could say? How important is that to the legacy of your dad?
It's really important because it adds a lot of recognition that he never received, prior to at the writing of the first book, because it picks up in 2004 and comes all the way up to 2014. A lot of things happen in his life, during that 10-year span. The Presidential Medal of Freedom Award, being inducted to the Hall of Fame, and getting an honorary doctorate. And then also he was given the Old Tom Morris Award, and
wow.
They had a golf course named after him, as well as a street in Los Angeles. So I think it's important to let people know that if you have a dream, which he did, and worked hard at it, you could be successful, and be recognized, accomplishing what you set out your goals to be.
I remember I spent some time with your father, I want to say maybe 8 to 10 years ago, during when he was back and forth here a lot at the Dr. Sifford golf course here in Charlotte. And
right.
him and I and James Black, we had great conversations. And I say all that to say this. Just recently, I want to say maybe 6 months or a year ago, you came down and we were hitting balls on the range with James Black. And
right.
I was so happy to see you swing. I'm like, we about to see one of the greatest to ever swing this golf club. And Mr. Black said, he don't swing nothing like his daddy. So, and I say all that to say this, I remember Mr. Sifford say he wanted to shield you from the game of golf. Like he was really kind of skeptical on having you be involved in the game to a certain extent because of the stuff that he went through.
Right.
Please speak more to that. Like, as far as, did you want to be involved, or you kind of understand where father was coming from?
No, he didn't force the game on me. I picked it up mainly because he was playing. I went to the golf course with him, watching hit balls and stuff. But I wanted to be a baseball player, and that was my primary goal. And he let me decide what sport I wanted to play. If I wanted, he arranged for me to take lessons and stuff like that for golf. But he could tell my interest wasn't in it. I didn't love the game the way he loved it. You had to love it to to do what he did. I liked the game, I enjoyed it, but he wanted me to make my own decision because he didn't, he knew what he went through, and he didn't want me to be exposed to that kind of pressure. So, he just let me decide. And as I got older, I got more and more involved in the game, and now I played as much as I possibly can. Living in Cleveland, we only have
you got 2 weeks to play.
6 month time period. So I try to get as much golf in as I can.
One thing that I've always wanted to ask you, and I'm so glad I have opportunity, is like, being the son of such a legendary, iconic figure. Is it exhausting to always answer questions about your dad or what you've been through within the game? Do you ever just be like, man, I don't want to talk about this damn game right now?
Right.
Yeah. The one question I always got asked was, are you as good as your father? And I want to say, if I was as good as him, I wouldn't be out here with you.
Yeah, Mr. Sifford, I saw you swing.
Yeah, I have, he taught me well. He wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing if I wanted to do it. But but that was the number one question, I always got. And the second was, how did he do it? I said, we just happened to be, like I mentioned earlier, just happened to be the right person in the right place at the right time.
And faith.
And yeah. He just happened to be the right, that's there at the right time.
Oh. When you hear about some of the the young African Americans that are playing this game as of right now, you got the APGA Tour, Ken Bentley and Michael Cooper, what those guys are doing, which is phenomenal.
Right. They're doing an excellent job.
Absolutely, and Doug and I are huge fans of what they're doing for the game. But from your perspective, as kind of have the past, present, and future perspective of the game, and being in the seat that you are. What is some of the message that you really want the young, aspiring professional golfers to get from your father's legacy?
Set your goals, work hard at it, and believe in yourself. That's the main thing. You have to believe in yourself and your talent. If you develop that talent level to be better than average, there's going to be people out there that's going to recognize that you have talent and want to help you out. But the main thing is to work hard. Don't get discouraged, because it's going to take time. Like he said, my father used to say, you have to work 2.5 times as hard being a minority as to be equally as successful as the rest of the world. And it's the same in golf. You got to be exceptional. You just can't be good. You got to be, above average to catch interest from other people and let them know that you can play this game.
Well,
it's just a matter of hard work and perseverance.
Hard work and perseverance. Well, I got one of those things. I don't know if I got the other one. But this is what I found really interesting. When you were 21, you were on the green during the celebration for your dad winning the LA Open. All right. But what I find more interesting is at that time, we're talking about 1969, there were 8 Black professional golfers that were playing the PGA circuit at the time. Right. Now, when your dad got handed a check for $20,000, and I'm reading this because I don't want to get it wrong, it says there were 5 players in that field that was around that green with you and your father: Pete Brown, Lee Elder, Junior Walker, Rafa Botts, and Curtis Sifford, which of course is Charlie's nephew.
Correct.
My question is that's a lot of brothers out there, and now why are we where we are, where we got this I feel like we're like dropped in or sprinkled in Black players, because in the 60s and 70s there was 8 guys, and maybe even got up to 10 or 12 that were playing high level golf, and now it's 4 or 5 max.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe, because it seems like you said, we've gone backwards as far as professional golfers on tour. Like you said, it was quite a few when Dad got there. Everybody really thought there was going to be an onslaught once Tiger got out there and started playing and winning. But I don't know. I think it's just the financial situation is the number one key. Getting sponsors and getting good training. Nowadays, the kids are going to college, and they playing on all these different country clubs and school, and they're developing a lot faster than the African-American or anybody's non-white golfer. They don't have the exposure, the ability to play on good golf courses. They don't have the money, which is the main drawback, because it's a lot more expensive to be out on that tour than it was when Dad was playing.
That's a good point.
It's just, I don't know, I guess after a while, they get to a certain point and some of them just lose interest. They know they can play, but they have that drive or the affordability to be able to take that next step. And that's what we have to do. We have to find out some kind of way to develop some financial assistance for these kids to be able to develop their game. And APGA is doing a real good job of getting exposure for, some of the young minorities playing, and they starting to get spots into the in certain PGA tournaments. But once you get in those spots, you're gonna have to, like I said, you got to play better than what your counterpart is going to get that recognition from them in order to want you to keep inviting you to play in these tournaments. It's a big shock to some of them kids when they get out there on the PGA Tour to be playing in the conditions that they're playing in against the talent that they're playing against. Mm-hmm. It's different. It's another level. And some of them just haven't been able to make that step to get to that next level as far as the competition-wise is concerned.
Yes.
But I think once they get over that hurdle of, being more competitive, the financial backing will show up once they realize that you do have talent and able to produce once you get out there.
Yeah, that's
you pretty much that's come from my heart.
I know you told my biography right there.
Right.
Yeah.
You left me speechless. But now, Mr. Sifford, in August, the President Cup has announced that they will have 6 teams to compete in the inaugural Charles Sifford Centennial Cup. So now, obviously, that wasn't a hard decision to attach the Sifford name to. So please explain now, how did that process come about?
It started where a friend of my father's lived in Houston and met him while my father and mother were living in Houston. Mm-hmm. Called me, he was really fond of my dad. And he said he had some people that wanted to help promote my father's 100th birthday celebration. And they formed a group.
That's him right there calling me back.
Yeah, he calling you right now. There's money on line one.
JLMP, and they was the name of their organization, and they formed. They got together with WME, a group out of California that helped promote the my father's birthday. We started by producing a cigar with John Stark's cigar company. We had the book redone, and then we got Buckle Foley to produce a hat, Centennial hat. And then they approached the PGA about seeing what they wanted to do to contribute to the celebration of my father's 100th birthday. And it just so happens that the President's Cup was going to be in Charlotte this year. And it seemed like it was a perfect match, my father being from Charlotte, and they want to do something to show that they are working towards the diversity in the game of golf. It seemed like this everything that's fell into place. And I guess the hardest part was trying to decide, on how to get what schools to invite, so they used the top rankings, Division I and Division II to get the schools. But it was just a perfect fit for everything that fell into place. My dad being from Charlotte, the tournament, the President's Cup was going to be there, and it just everything that's fell into place, and that's took off from there.
Well, I'm looking forward to all the happenings there in Will's hometown down there in Charlotte at Quail Hollow for that Centennial event. But there's another Centennial event that we got to discuss with you real quick, Mr. Sifford. And that's the golf outing, here on Tuesday, June 21st. Tell me a little bit about the aim for this event, because I know Wethersfield Country Club is a very, very special place to you and your family.
Yes, it's the golf course. My father won his first official PGA tournament. I've never been there, so it'll be a great honor to be in the city as well as play on the golf course that he played on when he won the golf tournament. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, and Go ahead, Will. I'm sorry.
No, and so if this is your first time, so I would imagine is some of the other family, other descendants, other nieces and grandkids and nephews are coming along with you.
No, just my daughter is the only one that's going to be coming. My grandson is playing baseball, and he's missed about 3 or 4 games, and he said he didn't want to miss anymore. So.
I love you, Grandpa, but I can't do it.
Yeah, but he said, he's been traveling with us. He was down at the memorial, and he went to the induction ceremony. So I guess he decided he needed a break.
Talk a little bit about the Dr. Charles Sifford Scholarship, because the aim is to raise money for those folks attending HBCUs, not just educationally, but within the game of golf.
Yes, this primary is geared towards those who, want to have a career in golf field. Not necessarily playing, but maybe working in a pro shop, working for a golf company or something like that. That just don't have the money, to go to a 4-year school to get the education, and so we want to do what we can to help them achieve that goal. My father never had a chance to go to college, so he wants, he really wanted to help kids. He's always been close to kids, and even on the tour when they was out there, he was definitely always signing autographs for them and things like that. So he really wanted to have them look up to him and see what he's accomplished, and we want to fulfill his dream of having more minorities get involved in an overall field of golf, not just the playing of it.
Yeah, and that's the Dr. Charles L. Sifford Scholarship, which is designed to help support college students qualify as they pursue their professional careers of their choice. Hopefully they stay within the game of golf, because I know it's a lot more welcoming when there's some folks that look like us behind the counter when we get to these courses. Right. We got to let you go, and I'm looking forward to the Centennial Cup. It's there right alongside of the President's Cup there at Quail Hollow in Charlotte. But as we let you go, what about your legacy? What will your legacy be when we talk about Charlie Sifford Jr.?
I just I'm a modest person. I don't brag about what my father did. People that know us know what he did, so I'm not the bragging type. But I just want everybody to know that I did everything I possibly could to keep my father's name in the forefront, so that he could be recognized and celebrated from now until hopefully the end of time. Get his name. He's just want him to be recognized, and I'm doing all I possibly can, my family as well, to make sure that happens, to keep his name out there in the forefront.
Well, I know, for speaking for Will and myself and everybody at NBC and golf, man, we appreciate your contributions to the game, your father's contributions. That's the most understatement thing I've ever said. Like, we appreciate it. No, I mean, come back again tomorrow.
I want to also comment that there's going to be a summit meeting going on around the same time as the HBC tournament, where the presidents from the HBCU and people from the PGA are going to have a summit where they're going to get together and talk about what can be done from here on into the future as far as increasing the diversity in the game of golf. And I think this is going to be something really interesting, and should be create some positive things out of it.
Well, when you feel that tug at your shirt tail, that's Will following you into the room. So Will's gonna be right problem. There behind you.
I'll be there.
Well, I mean, I had
force call.
Well, we had already talked to Adam Sperling, the tournament director for the President's Cup, and I will be there hosting that event. So I'll be bringing your chair out so you can sit in the chair.
Okay, I'll be looking forward to seeing you again.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sifford. We appreciate. Well, Mr. Sifford, Dr. Sifford. I'm calling you Dr. Sifford. How about that? I'm okay. Right here on Beyond the Fairway. We've given you your doctorate. Boom. It doesn't mean much, but
it
it means something to us.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
Pleasure
Sifford.
talking to you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for the time, sir.
Blessings to you.
Okay.
Beyond the Fairway is presented by Genesis Motor America and the 2022 GV80. Luxurious design meets intuitive versatility. Make the game your own. And Will, one of the things we talk about making the game your own, Charlie Sifford Jr. does it in a different way. He makes his father's game and legacy his own. The selflessness that he exhibited, through our conversation was remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, man. He is furthering the legacy of his father through initiatives that can still grow the game, and we can benefit from. A younger generation can benefit from. So, I mean, for somebody who, never played on the PGA Tour, Charlie Sifford Jr., he gets it, and that's what makes him so amazing. He even, pay homage to his father. All the hard work and all the dedication and all the pain and suffering that he had to do for us. And to Doug, you and I, we play this game on a high level, and we take a bogey home with us. So imagine, going through the props and the stuff that he had to deal with, and still come home and still be attentive husband, attentive father. Man, Charlie Sifford, man,
and to shield your family from kind of the grotesque lifestyle that you live trying to chase this white ball around grass, like putting up with unimaginable racism and hostility just to play the game, just to live and be different color skin. Sorry, that just, it blows my mind what those guys did so that we can have a platform to play and do what we do. It's fantastic. So shouts out to Charlie Sifford Jr. Thank you, Charlie Sifford Sr., for all you've done and your contributions to this game. And also, we do need to give a shout out to Wendell Haskins, who was monumental in making sure that Charlie Sifford got the recognition that he needed via the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Probably 8-9 months before he passed, Will?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we got to give shout out to Wendell for doing a lot of things. He still had his hand in on the honorary starter at the Masters for Lee Elder as well. So, just shout out for Wendell for all he's doing in the game of golf.
Well, speaking of shout outs, let me give Jennifer Kupcho a shout out because she took home a W this week. 18 under par at the Meyer LPGA Classic. So shouts out to you, Jay Cup, and Well, Travelers Championship is going to be good. I don't have any picks yet. I'm just be honest with you. I'm
drained from the U.S. Open. I am out of breath. Yet.
Yeah, we'll pick. Follow us on social media. We'll pick there. Appreciate all y'all for tuning in to Beyond the Fairway, presented by Genesis Golf Channel, NBC Sports, Paul Kazmarechek. Everybody that helps us put this show on, we appreciate you. And happy Father's Day, belated, to all the fathers out there. We appreciate what you do. And go raise your damn kids in the game of golf. That's where you want. Holla at you.